If you're creating content or you want to create content, you need a good strategy. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to start in this two-part series.
Okay, I've been working like 3 jobs. Probably why I never see ya. Probably why I never have time for the fake friends I won't be ya. Been ballin', but it's looking like they took a time out. Okay, I'm working on a Wednesday, then up again the next day. So-and-so is popping, man, I skip him like he leg day.
Content marketing, content creation, you've heard of it before. We talk about it all the time. It is what's most relevant and important to get brand awareness, sales, revenue, increase your pipeline, and everything around that. If you don't have a strategy though, you're gonna produce a piece of content, you're gonna put it out there, it's not gonna get the views, it's not gonna do what you expect it to do with your revenue and brand awareness, and then you're gonna be not as likely to push forward with any more content and just throw that strategy in the garbage. So we're gonna go through the first 3 steps of it in this 2-part series to lay out the best strategy so you can get the success faster and struggle less with your creation. First thing you're gonna start with is the why. Why are you creating content? Why are you gonna put the effort, the money into doing it? You've gotta have a strategy behind the why, otherwise you're not gonna wanna do it. So looking at the why, we're gonna break it down into 3 main categories. It's either gonna be for SEO, it's gonna be for brand awareness, or it's gonna be for some sort of advertising. Looking at it from an SEO standpoint, the why would you wanna create content for SEO is that's the way that you're gonna get new traffic to your site with new keywords, new trends, new themes that you're gonna wanna go after. Whatever your site is currently set up as for optimization for your on-page and off-page SEO, it's going after these themes and phrases that you've set up from the beginning based on your business at that point. But if you wanna go long tail keywords, if you wanna go to something with a new trend, if you wanna dive deeper into a specific service or a product or anything like that, then you're gonna wanna create content, a lot of content around it, because that's gonna support at the foundation of your overall SEO plan. So if you look at your SEO like a pyramid with your main keyword, theme, and phrase at the top, then the supporting foundation is gonna be all of those blog posts and all of that content. So from an SEO standpoint, it's extremely important to create content. You're showing Google that you're creating content. You're showing Google that you're a subject matter expert. Now you have tens of thousands of words or videos, tens of hundreds of minutes of videos of content talking about specific subjects, which from a Google standpoint is gonna be like, this guy, this girl, this company, they know what they're doing. Let's keep boosting them up, and it's just gonna keep increasing your rankings. Now, if you have your SEO set up properly in the beginning before you go heavy into content, then it's gonna make it that much faster and better for your main themes and keyword phrases to increase. So that's the why behind the SEO. People have been talking about this for years. You have to do it strictly from an SEO standpoint. Even if you do the basic things like what is this or how does this work, it's not anything that's going to provide a ton of value, but it's going to show Google that you know things, and those are going to be high search phrases to push you up the rankings. The next one's going to be brand awareness. You want to be viewed as a subject matter expert to your target demographic, just like you do to Google. So it's the same type of mindset, it's the same type of strategy that you're going to have. It's going to be brand awareness. You need to pump out content. There's so much noise in all the platforms and all the social and email and the internet in general. There's so much noise there. The person that's producing the most content is gonna get the most attention, and you're fighting for those positions against everybody else. So from a brand awareness standpoint, subject matter expert, and you're trying to beat out the noise. So you have to pump out as much content as possible. From an advertising standpoint, why would you wanna create content for advertising? That is the only way that you're gonna be able to put an advertisement piece in front of somebody, regardless of what the platform is, and you need a piece of content to put in front of them to entice them to click into whatever you're trying to do, whether it's going to a landing page, whether it's going to your website, whether it's watch a video, do some sort of squeeze page, or read a white paper, whatever it is, you need something to put out there in front of them, and that's gonna be a piece of content. You're not just gonna say, hey, we're cool and this is why. You need some piece of content for that advertising campaign, and it has to be relevant. So now you got the why down, we gotta look at the what. What are you actually going to create, and what is gonna be the most effective for your target demographic and what you guys do? Breaking these down, you've got written word, which is gonna be blogs and articles. You've got audio with podcasts. You've got video to put out there on advertising and things like that. And then you've got the branded graphics or some sort of graphic image. Looking at the blogs first, whether you call them a blog, an article, a white paper, put them in your news section, regardless of what you're calling it, you're talking about written word. The importance and the reason why you want to do this is that some people still out there, and it's a ton of them, still like to read content. And if that's what you're good at, then you need to write content for it. Just because you want to do video because it's more engagement doesn't mean that you should. It's not meant for everybody. Just same thing with people that are making videos. They don't like to write, nor are they good at it. They should not then go and write blog articles and white papers and case studies. So looking at the blog, it's extremely important. It's something that somebody can read passively. You want to create that so that way they can take it with them on the go. They can read it in between things. It's not something they have to pay attention to, live, real time, and just view it. They can come back to it, pick it up where they left off. The next one's going to be on the podcast. Podcasts have been around forever and increasing their level of activity and engagement from the community. It's something where it's more of a passive listening experience where you can turn on the vlog, lock your phone, cut the grass, do the dishes, do whatever you want, go about your day, go for a run in your car, and you don't have to pay attention to it like you do a blog or watch something like you do a video. So podcasts are great if you have the setup, if you have topics, if you have people that you could bring into it, if there's another personality you could bring. Podcasts are great for that. They're going to continue to increase their popularity. They've kind of gone up and down over the last few years with videos increase, but you want to take a look at that if you are comfortable doing that type of podcast. The video side, you can get into it cheap with just your phone. You can do it native on social. Video is the most engaging in 2019. It was at the end of 2018. It's going to continue to fight, in my opinion, with audio and the podcast side. As YouTube keeps pushing out and gets bigger and bigger, it is the number 2 search engine. So video, you can start off cheap or you can go fancy with it, but video is going to get the most engagement. The last one's going to be branded graphics. Branded graphics or graphics in general is just going to be a static image with words on it. This is something that you still need to do. However, it is the least effective at times depending on the platform. This is something that you wouldn't be able to do the best if you don't have a creative department or an agency doing it for you. But these are things that you can throw out for advertising, not so much for SEO, but you can put alt tags behind them. But this is something, brand awareness, you can throw these out easily. You can do a ton of them and get that information out there about your brand. Now we've gone over why you're making content, what you're going to be making. Let's talk about who are you making this content for. I look at this as one of 2 categories. Either this is somebody that you're eventually, either now or in the future, trying to sell to, or this is somebody that you're not necessarily trying to sell to, you're just trying to get brand awareness or company exposure out there. So from a prospect standpoint, sales standpoint, you got to look at the target demographic of what are their titles, their functions, what's the persona, the buyer persona behind it, and go through that process to really understand, like, this is who you're going after. They're going to want a specific type of content. There's going to be things that work better than others, which go into the creative, but you have to identify that first. It's a lot different if you're making this for a Fortune 500 company versus a Fortune 1000 company or a Fortune 100 company in different types of personas of departments. You need to fit your creative behind that. So going through that process and mapping it out and being like, who is this going to be basically driven towards? And thinking also one step ahead, what do I want them to do at the end of this? Do I want them to go someplace and get into more of a transactional sales role? Do I want them just to consume the content and just know about the brand because I'm going to keep hitting them with more and more content? You have to think about that first. From the non-sales standpoint, from a non-prospect, just looking at brand awareness and building that company brand out there, this is where you can look into, is it from a media standpoint? Is it producing content for employees to like and share and feel proud of? That side of it is going to be less focused on, you want them to do something specifically that's going to be transactional that can affect your bottom line. But if you're producing content for people that could eventually come back around because they know somebody that knows somebody and they've got some outlet, and then they can push it out through that avenue, or if they're going to bring you into a speaking event or bring you into a trade show or think that you're a subject matter expert and they're a publishing company and they do the magazine for your local trade or your industry, producing content that's driven towards them is going to make them more likely to come to you and say, hey, can you produce some content on this platform? I'm going to push it out there, which then goes back to sales because it's to your target demographic. So it's all full circle with the exception of the employees aspect. But looking at those 2 main categories of who you're going after with this content, looking at the demographic and the persona behind it is going to make it a lot more easier when you get into creative and the hows, which we'll cover in part 2. How exactly are you going to do this and when are you going to do it? And that will make it a lot easier and more efficient if you cover these areas first. So now we've covered why you're doing this, like brand awareness, what you're going to actually be creating, like a video, or who you're trying to target with this. for a sales prospect. Fuck.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So now we've covered why we're doing this, like
Brand
awareness. I was about to say videos. All right. Now that fuck. Now that we've covered why we're doing this, like for brand awareness, what we're going to be creating, videos, or who you're doing this for from a sales transactional standpoint, stay tuned for part 2 where we finish out this strategy. If you got value out of this, hit that like button. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we will see you on the next one. Is that a slow clap? Can we get a slow? Becca, clap. No. Becca, do you clap?